So, students, we know that many of you are getting a little concerned about your status in the course right now and your academic planning. Finals are so close, and yet they're also far away. So, I'm creating this short video to give you a strategy for how to plan out the remainder of your semester so that you could use your time most productively to start shifting away from simply class preparation to class review with an eye towards success on the final exams. So, not to be the bearer of bad news here, friends, exams are coming and they're coming fast. So, when are they coming? November has already begun. Your legal research and writing final assignment is going to be due the week of December 4th. Your Introduction to American Law exam is November 22nd, only 2 or 3 weeks away. Your exams begin December 11th and they run until December 22nd, which is enough to make everyone a little bit crazy. And notice your exams actually begin this year, December 9th, not December 11th. So it's even closer than that. But you don't have to feel like him. You don't. Our goal today is that you can get to a period of some purposeful engagement. Now, notice, unlike most American systems in the world, BU Law does not offer you a robust reading period. You have all of 1 day to prepare for exams. That is obviously not sufficient time to digest the amount of content that you've had to engage with this term. So, friends, it's time to begin your preparation for exams right now. So, how are we going to do it? The first is you have to identify your goals and create a study plan. What's a study plan? It's basically just an organized schedule. It's going to get you on track to identify particular study times and learning goals. It gets your thinking away from, I want to do well on exams, I'd like to get an A, to I'm going to study these particular hours of these particular days, and I'm going to work on these particular tasks. So it allows you to really focus your energies in a very, very important and strategic way. Why is this important? Because planning is going to decrease your anxiety and your stress throughout the whole process. It's going to help you manage your time. A goal without a plan is just a wish. Friends, it's important that we get a goal and a plan to achieve academic excellence this year. And this short little video is designed to try to give you the bridge, the keys, the puzzle pieces to connect these wishes to plan. So specifically, what is your study plan going to look like? So first we have to assess your current status in the course. And so what does our math tell us about this term? So from today, November 1st, when you're getting this video, you have 3 weeks until your first final exam and Introduction to American Law. Your remaining finals are going to begin in 5 weeks' time. There are 14 weeks in our semester here at BU Law. So you've completed at this point 9 weeks of your term. That's about 64% of the coursework you have already completed for most of your substantive law classes. For your American law class, you're almost at 100% of classes that you've completed. What does that mean? It means that you can and you should begin studying for final exams right now. And by right now, friends, I mean this weekend. You should really get on it now. What does that study plan look like? Well, let's talk about an overall strategy. So let's say you've got 4 weeks. You have to outline 14 weeks of class sessions. And then after you create your outlines, you're going to also have to create some alternative study guides, which will be equally important for you. What you should do then is I need you to get this on a calendar. Okay, so this weekend, review and outlines week 1, 2, 3, and 4 of each of your substantive classes and mark that. Maybe Saturday you do weeks 1 and 2, and Sunday you do weeks 3 and 4. Weekend 2, you're going to review and outline weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. Weekend 3, you're going to review and outline weeks 9, 10, 11, 4, 11, 12, and 13, 5. 14, you're going to review 14, you're going to begin your study aid process. Then you're going to review, and review. Note, I have you reviewing weeks 11 on both weekend number 3 or weekend number 4. Your choice, your call. The important thing is not the number of class weeks that you define for each particular weekend. You may have one weekend that's particularly heavy for legal research and writing. You might have one weekend when you have out-of-town guests. My invitation to you, friends, is to make a plan that works for you and get it on a calendar. Because if you do, you can convert this kind of stressed swirly state of not knowing how to accomplish into a calm, purposeful engagement where you know that if you simply do the task for that weekend, you will succeed and get your outlines done. So you need to commit that to paper or screen. If you don't, it's just a wish. What does that look like? Well, here's a sample schedule. Maybe on Mondays you take a walk, then you have breakfast, then you review your class notes before contracts. You go to contracts, then you review notes and you outline contracts for that day. Then you maybe have lunch with friends. You go outside, equally important. Then you're going to prepare for your corporations class. And you're going to move down the day, including when your study blocks are for study, when your study blocks are for review, when they are for exercise and nutrition, so that you ultimately will have a study plan that works for you, incorporating what you need to do with your life, but also review and preparation. After you plan it, you begin it. You're going to create outlines. There are really good resources on our academic achievement pages about how to create an outline. Those outlines come from different sources, the most important of which is your syllabus and the table of contents in your casebook. You're going to pull the notes from your reading, secondary sources, your notes from class, and you're going to organize it consistent with the titles on your syllabus or the table of contents to create a working document that incorporates the knowledge that you learned in your class this term. The essential and best advice for these outlines is you got to do it on your own. Don't just borrow outlines, although you should collaborate and share. It'll be better if you collaborate and work together, but ultimately you need to do your own. You should be writing your own, but you could certainly use others' works as a supplement. The time to start is now. If you haven't done it already, you really have to get going this weekend. And then our point is that you must just review, review, review. We can't just be focused on the classes ahead. We must now also turn our attention to the classes that came behind. The outlining tips and what materials to use, you want to organize this mess on the desk that you see here. And the table of contents in your syllabus is going to tell you just how to do it. It's going to give you an organizational framework for the course and your outline. Use that. You organize the materials from the legal rules, not the cases. Focus on capturing what the doctrine is. What does the rule of law say for that particular topic? Do one section at a time. You're going to revise and review as the semester goes on. But ultimately, you're going to seek to establish an outline creation for a set number of classes in a set period of time. So dividing by the weekends can be really, really helpful. How much is too much detail? Do you need to include case names? Not necessarily. You don't have to include the name of every case. You should include them if they're big landmark cases that the professor has talked a lot about it. You should include some statutory reference if it helps you understand the concepts. And I would just think about how their professor had dealt with it in your class and adapt your outline to that. This does not need to be as big as Harry Potter, the Bible, or Tolstoy. This is supposed to be a working document summarizing your knowledge of the course. After you create an outline, then of course, the best thing you could do is to make a checklist of that outline. I always did an outline of my outline. Then you might have a 40-page outline that you reduce to a 2-page checklist. That's incredibly helpful, both for learning the material as well as triggering your thoughts to the extent that you have an open book exam. So you just have essential rules and checklist of analysis. Beyond the outline, you could also use this time in your weeks to create flowcharts. They're a great way to follow analyses. You could also make your own flashcards. There are tons of study aids within the library reserve section on the second floor of the library, as we first walk in, right behind the main desk. There's study aid section. They're also all online. We have an amazing American Law and LLM survival guide. For you IP folks, the same thing applies. You could use this guide. Incredibly helpful places on this website, on the library for study aids and course materials for major courses. Note, you could also look at past exams. You can form study groups and help together review past exams, do issue spots. How many issues did you find? How many did your friends find? And how do you put that together to write and think about what a cogent exam would look like? We're going to have a series of in-person academic support workshops. I'm doing one next week on Wednesday. Don Weber is doing one the following Tuesday. You are not alone. There are also plenty of supports online on our academic achievement website pages. You can make an appointment to speak with John Riccardi or John LaPlante or myself at any time if we could provide additional support. But friends, I want to take us back to this slide back here because the most important thing at this point in time is to just get it on paper. You need to get a plan, get started, and get it done. I know you can do it. You will do it. We're rooting for you every step of the way.